we did end up having to run ads, paid ads that, we don't have a huge budget for any, we're not like Toyota or something, but we did do campaigns and boosting, and that was eventually what got it there. But you also have to remember there was a lot less competition for your eyes out there at the time, 5-10 years ago, whatever, whenever this was. And so it wasn't as competitive as it is now, or crowded, I guess is the word. But I guess I'm really interested to know what makes you stop and read. Is it, people seem to really love video. Do you want more video in our social media accounts? Do you want me to include, links to problem sets, or, I would just love more guidance, about what it is you need from us. I mean, is it enough to just put in a link to a course that we've just published and say, off you go? So any kind of feedback people have about that would be super helpful to me.
And then Sharon, did you want to go?
Sure. So for the Mirror Site program, currently we have 437 affiliates globally. We want the Mirror Site to continue to grow and provide equitable access to education for learners around the world. On the recipient's end, I think, we are always curious about questions such as how effective are those hard drives we have provided? Do they work? Any technical glitches? How are they set up to encourage new learners? On the other end, we will always appreciate if people can support us to continue this program or help us figure out a technology invention to further grow the program. So let's just keep the ball rolling.
That's great. Yeah, thanks so much for that. Sarah, did you want to tell us a little bit more about what kind of feedback is going to be helpful to you and your team?
Yeah, there's really two parts. One, we love to bring your voices into the podcast. We have a telephone number that you can call to tell us who you'd like to see as guests on the show or what questions you have for them. But I would love to know from you, like, how can I invite you to do that? How can we communicate about that? Do you like social media for invitations to submit ideas? What works best for you? The second piece is that we love to talk about what OCW does for educators and can do for them. We love to present at conferences. So my ask is, if you have local conferences in where you are, please let us know if you'd like us to come share the resources that we have. Now, with Zoom, we can appear almost anywhere, and we'd love to come to you. So please reach out and let us know.
That's just great. That's just great. As I mentioned before, we actually had so many people writing in and just offering these great suggestions. So our panelists are going to choose a suggestion that was offered and expand upon it. And so we'll start with Sarah.
Well, yeah, I actually just did that. I took that suggestion for conferences, which I thought was just great. And it's something we already love to do. So just another plug to please reach out and let us know about any local conferences. I would love to come.
And for Sharon?
Yes, so I looked at all of the questions our participants have raised. And I think several people mentioned about seeking collaboration with other institutes or other websites. And I think for the Mirror Site program, particularly, partners played an instrumental role in extending our outreach to more hard-to-reach learners communities. For example, we have worked with our affiliate in Myanmar and successfully brought MIT course materials to 23 universities and 6 community libraries in Myanmar. The door for collaboration is always open, and we will continue to look for a new partnership.
That's wonderful. That's so great. Cheryl, did you want to take a suggestion and perhaps expand upon it?
Well, there were some suggestions that said, be on social media more. And so I wasn't quite sure if that meant post more or be on different different platforms. And we do have a poll question coming up about that. But yeah, so I think, my goal is to, post often, is, every day or nearly every day, to get you guys to keep you engaged. Yeah, that, I think knowing which platforms are the right ones is one of my challenges. It's like, do we go to TikTok? Should we check out Clubhouse? And then I'm sure there are many that I've never heard of yet because I'm too old. But I think that's, one of the bigger challenges I have is, I know that many of our users, are on TikTok and WhatsApp, and it doesn't make sense for us to go there. I don't know, but we just did Instagram and that's going pretty well, but there had been resistance about it previously. So here's your poll about, if you could only spend time on one social media channel, which of the following would you choose? And I will not sing the Jeopardy song for you.
But you could totally do it, Cheryl.
I wouldn't torture you like that.
Okay, I appreciate that. And the results are here. Wow. Oh, wow. LinkedIn. So Instagram is the winner here. Does that surprise you? Facebook, I felt like is pretty, yeah, I totally get that. But
I'm not that surprised actually, because I think others are, waning maybe in popularity, and Instagram is on the upswing. And I think the thing that surprises me is that nobody's on TikTok. I've been hearing such good things. But maybe it's just our special group here that is not into it, or so Instagram, I think that gives me more fuel to the fire here to spend more time on it. So I would have picked Instagram too, for what it's worth. Don't tell Mark Zuckerberg.
or maybe we should. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I think we're ready to open up for some questions here. Let's see if you give us a second to take a quick look. So one of the questions that had come up, or the suggestions that had come up, was just doing more advertising campaigns. And I know that we've kind of played around with that on Facebook for a while, because in looking at our data, which at MIT, we love our data, we found that so many people kind of come to OpenCourseWare through that medium. Cheryl, are there some advertising campaigns that you could talk about? Perhaps some that we ran in the past?
Yeah, every February we do a love campaign, and I have to say many of these amazing ideas start with Yvonne. She is often the genius behind these. So, talking about February, Valentine's Day, and we like to highlight stories about how people love OCW and how it's changed them, but also how we love our learners. And so I look forward to that one every year. Also, we do a back to school campaign. Everybody, it's all wonky this year, but everybody, is gearing back up to back to school. And so we try to help by providing intro courses, things students might interact with on their freshman year and, need to get caught up to speed. Also, we did, thanks to Yvonne, a whole campaign about our scholar courses that had little promos that had, Jedi Masters talking to you about OCW Scholar, which is our sort of MOOC-like experience. So I think another challenge for me thinking about this is we have learners all over the world, and our two biggest populations in social media are people from the US and people from India. And how do you make sure your content is interesting and engaging for all kinds of communities? And in terms of also timing, when do you post if, Mumbai is, 12 hours ahead? What could be offensive in another culture that I don't realize is happening? So I think those are some big challenges. So any feedback from anyone out there, that would be super helpful as well. Like, we have high schools here have AP exams, but that is limited to the US. So that's not content that's, entirely relevant for everybody. I also wanted to address the question about certificates that many people ask us about certificates. And unfortunately, no, OCW does not offer certificates. As you know, we don't require any kind of registration or sign-in. We don't track where you are. So there's no way for us to verify that people have completed any kind of coursework or mastered a subject. So it's not something that we offer. MOOCs can do that for you, but this is a vast library of materials that has been locked behind gates for centuries, right? So, and we give it to you for free. And so that is the situation now. I know that a lot of people would want that, but you can definitely still put it, on your resume that you've, learned this material. But we do get that question always.
Yeah, and I would add that, at Open Learning, there are quite a few resources for people who are interested in earning a certificate. And so I would encourage you to connect with our friends at MITx who run massive open online courses. If you go to the MIT Open Learning site, and on the homepage, you can find MITx MOOCs. And those courses, they're all free. They're timed. There's great interaction. You can get responses to your questions. And if you choose to get a certificate, there's a nominal fee. There's a fee for that, but you could still access all of those courses and audit them for free. We had a question from Van Vu, who wants to know, does MIT guide people to be teachers? Or perhaps how does MIT help educators? Is that something you could speak to, Sarah?
Sure. Well, I can talk about what we're doing at OpenCourseWare. Educators are really important to us. They make up only about 10% of our usership, but they're such an important 10% because they are multipliers. They share our open resources with many, many people. So we really value them. And so in over 200 of our courses, we have a special section called Instructor Insights. And that's where I've personally interviewed the faculty member, and I've talked with them about how they taught on campus with the courses, with the course materials that they're sharing on OpenCourseWare. So educators using them get to find out, like, how are they used on the MIT campus? What do I want to keep from that? What do I want to change? What do I want to build on? It's a really neat way to pull back the curtain on teaching. Usually teaching happens behind closed doors at universities, and MIT professors are being radically open with their colleagues around the world saying, hey, take a peek and look at what's going really well, look at my challenges, look at my iterations. So I would encourage anyone who's working on their own teaching to take a look at those insights. We also have a special educator portal where you can search for courses that use a particular pedagogical strategy that you might be interested in, such as active learning, or teaching with technology, or remote teaching now. We've just added that one. So that's another resource for educators. We also have a way to search for our courses by particular like teaching material. So you might want problem sets with solutions or exams with solutions in your particular academic area. We make it possible to do that. We're trying to make the site as easy to use for you, but we have a long way to go. And we're in the process right now of refining those pathways for educators to make it even easier. So if any of you out there have feedback about how OpenCourseWare is working for you now and changes that you would like to see, please drop those in the Q&A or in the spreadsheet, and I will personally take a look at those.
That's great. You know, Marcel, and sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but Marcelo Aguayo from Paraguay says he wants more video because it helps improve his English. I wonder, Sharon, if you could just talk about video with OCW and how that works, and you know how you make those choices about which courses will have video versus ones that don't.
So yes, I definitely can speak about it from the role of being a digital publication specialist. So I think a lot of the time the deciding factors is actually from the faculty. We usually provide content as a snapshot about what is being taught at MIT. And you know, every year, every semester, we have so many good courses that we want to provide an update on our website. But this is, you know, we understand our users have always demand for more videos and we want to do more. I think, you know, especially during the very challenging year for the COVID pandemic, I feel like we're very blessed that even though we are kind of, you know, working remotely, but we have a fabulous video team who still went on campus, work with the instructors to capture a lot of great videos. So it is our goal is to provide more videos, you know, continue to do it. We understand that our users really love all the great videos. So that is definitely what we're trying to do. When we're standing at this moment of our 20th anniversary, we look at what we have done and we know our users love our videos. So we are hoping that in the next 20 years, we can do more videos to serve our learners. Yeah.
I'd actually like to piggyback off that. There are a couple of questions about recruitment and how we choose which courses to go on and updating courses. So, you know, as I said, part of my job, my main part is working with the faculty to get their materials up. And it's a complicated decision to get things up because they are pretty time consuming. We only do about 60 a year. So it's what course looks interesting that fills a gap. What faculty is willing to work with us? You know, we may think that this machine learning is fantastic, but maybe the faculty is wary of OCW, or often we get a question about, you know, or we'll get a response that maybe next year, I'm not comfortable this year. So it's what's available, who's teaching it, is sometimes if a course is very hands-on, it doesn't translate that well to OCW because you're not in the class, you miss what's going on. And this is a case with a lot of our humanities and social sciences that are discussion based. So you miss the sort of meat of the course. And what we have is a syllabus and a reading list and some assignments. And then in terms of updating, we are very, very aware that many of our courses are old and need to be updated. And it is a constant problem. You know, I've been here 13 years and we've talked about it on my first day and we'll talk about it on my last day. So it's something we strive for. Wasim had mentioned that he saw a linear algebra course from last century. And there are some courses that are classic, that the material doesn't change, you know, like classical mechanics, like calculus. The fundamentals of linear algebra are the same pretty much, no matter when you see it. It's if what changes is the context and the applications. And actually, to plug Gil Strang, he has a 2020 course about new applications of linear algebra, which we can drop in the chat for you as well. But we know that video is key for people, and so we try to process as much as possible.
great. Yeah. So we have a question here from our YouTube friend, Martin question. And his question is, what's in it for you? He says, we consume and leverage the free education you provide. That is, of course, highly appreciated. And we love that. And really, I'm happy to take some of this, but I don't know if any of you want to, do any of you want to take this? Okay. So why does OpenCourseWare do this? Well, it's because MIT believes in the importance of sharing our materials with the world. The whole idea of MIT is to bring knowledge to bear on the greatest problems in the world. And one of the things that we're able to do with OpenCourseWare is to help with that problem. And so early on, when we started OpenCourseWare, the idea came from faculty, a group of faculty who recognized that, you know, we're not going to be a distance learning education program. That was just not in the cards. But what we could do is we could actually share the teaching materials that are used in MIT classrooms with the world for free. And really, we just saw that as a huge public benefit. And so that's really what's in it for us. It's helping us deliver on our mission, but it's also just really helping the world be a better place. It's providing opportunity for anybody that has that desire and motivation to learn. And that we would love to be part of that learning toolkit that anybody out there has. I don't know if anybody wants to add to that.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate what you're saying. I mean, we benefit when you solve problems that are facing our communities. So it's a little bit selfish in that we want to share all this stuff so you can solve some of the most pressing problems in the world. We really need people from every corner of the planet to work on all of the issues facing our climate and our societies. So yeah, we're all part of the puzzle. And so this is one piece that MIT can do to help solve these issues.
I think also, you know, I think there's a statistic that OCW over its 20 years has been used in just about every single country. And I think for MIT that we are a fairly inexpensive ambassador program for them, that people that may not have heard of MIT or didn't think it was for them now can take a little dive in and become aware of it. So it can be a recruiting tool for them. But you know, it is a permanent activity here at MIT. So it's impressive.
Just as a little side note, when I was applying for this job about 7 years ago, I kept saying, but how is this possible? How are you offering this for free? Like, is this going to end? Like, am I going to maybe get this job and then the job is going to end? Like, this doesn't seem possible. But it is. I mean, and it's because of donors like you who keep us sustained. So thank you. And thank you to MIT for supporting us. But it's really unbelievable. It's like a miracle. I can't believe it exists. And I'm so glad that it does.
Yeah, I would echo that. I mean, when I first heard of it way back in the 90s, I thought they're crazy. They're insane. Why are they even doing that? Like, what's the catch? And then to finally, you know, make it here as an employee and recognize that there's this incredible altruism to doing this. And it still carries so many, its meaning is so deep. And because we've been around for 20 years, that meaning has taken such deep roots, especially within our faculty and in our teaching our teaching staff. So yeah, I mean, as far as we are pretty much ruled by faculty, and if they want to continue doing this, they will as well. Anonymous question: do you have any plans to make OCW website more user-friendly? Yes, it's long overdue. In some ways, we're kind of catching up. But that effort is actually encompassed in next-gen OpenCourseWare. I was going to talk a little bit about that later, but we are actively working on the next generation of OpenCourseWare with the idea that it will be easily accessible on any mobile device. We are now working on the infrastructure for that. We hope to do a soft launch of the new site later on this summer, and probably by this fall, launch completely a mobile-friendly site, one that has stronger search capabilities. We want this to be as user-friendly for educators so that they could take our content and relatively seamlessly integrate our content into their curricula. So there's definitely lots of plans in place right now for that. Okay. And from YouTube, all of us has a question. And this person says, I think translation is an issue. Are there efforts to translate OCW courses to languages such as Arabic, Hindu, Chinese, and Spanish? I'm happy to take this question. I think there's huge value in being able to make OCW content as accessible in other languages that are non-English. We certainly will continue, and we're dedicated to having these courses available in the language that it's taught at MIT, which is mainly English. But for a while, we were working with translation affiliates around the world who are able to find resources and the talent to actually take courses and translate them. Unfortunately, a lot of those affiliates weren't able to sustain their operations. And in some cases, they actually had shifted and created their own OpenCourseWares, which is exactly what we want. We want there to be other OCWs out there, open educational resources out there in different languages to help folks that learn in those languages. But as it is now, we welcome anybody to translate our courses and our resources, so long as they add kind of that disclaimer that we're not endorsing those translations, but that these courses come from MIT and they're attributed to MIT. So I hope that answers your question there. Okay. So there's a question about 3D printers. Yukun's question about 3D printers. Did you want to take that, Sharon?
Sure. So Yukun's asked about, are there courses on 3D printers also maintained by the staff members at MIT? So this is a very interesting question. In the past, OCW actually has published several IAP courses. IAP is the time that the MIT communities usually have a lot of opportunity to take on for credit, non-credit, workshop kind of courses. And I believe some of the 3D print or 3D printer courses sometimes is offered as a workshop. So I think that as long as there's an opportunity that there's an IAP course offered on campus, I think our team definitely would just go for it. But in the past, we have published several IAP series, including Girls Who Make, Arduino, Unity. Those are good for people who have the maker's taste. So that's my answer for Yuko's question.
That's fantastic. Well, I think that we've come to a close with our session. And again, this has just been so wonderfully fantastic. I want to thank Sharon, Sarah, and Cheryl for sharing their insights into their important work. We want to recognize our OCW team behind the scenes who've been helping us run this event. That's Megan Mafucci, Brett Pachi, Jason Player, Shiva Nemat Nasser, and Kathleen Nalazetti, sorry. I also want to thank you. You OCW learners are amazing. We're so grateful for your feedback and ideas today. And so if you have additional suggestions on our outreach, please add them here. I mean, your thoughts are especially helpful as we work on the next generation of OpenCourseWare website, which will become available later this year. No one knows OCW like our learners, and everything we do is to try and make it even better for you. So this website will be completely mobile friendly, as I mentioned before, and so we imagine will potentially serve billions of people who own a mobile device and have that desire and motivation to learn. We're expecting the site to be intuitive and have a powerful content discovery capabilities. We're planning for a suite of new features to support educators as they adopt and adapt OER for their teaching. And we're dedicated to all of this good work. And really, this work needs support. So here are a few ways you can help us give. A donation in any amount counts. We're running a 20th anniversary fundraising campaign, and we need a few hundred people to help us reach our goal. A donation in any amount helps. So please give if you can. And if you aren't in a position to give, which we totally understand, then please help us spread the word about OpenCourseWare to your friends, family, and colleagues. Cheryl does an amazing job on our social media channels, so reposting, retweeting, anything she posts would be super duper helpful. And lastly, just tell us your story. Let us know how we've helped in your learning journey, because your words and experience are so powerful and meaningful to our funders and everyone in our community. And so with that, thank you again, everyone, for spending time with us. Be well, take care, and keep learning.